Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're taking a quick look at four pretty significant AI news stories making waves just today, June 3rd, 2025.
And right up front, just a quick note for you. This whole deep dive, we're calling it AI Daily Deep Dive, was actually researched and generated entirely by AI.
That's right. So our mission here is to help you quickly unpack these stories, get the main points from the source material we used, and, figure out what it all means. Let's jump right in with one that's, well, it's a bit of a reality check.
Okay, first up, this story out of the UK. The bankruptcy filing of Builder.ai. Now, this was a startup, remember, once valued at a staggering $1.5 billion, backed by big names, too, like Microsoft.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting and kind of surprising, frankly. They marketed themselves as using AI, right? This AI assistant called Natasha, supposedly building apps super fast. But the core issue behind that AI front, it was reportedly, like 700 human engineers in India?
Exactly. The reports suggest these engineers were, allegedly told to use fake Western names for clients. Even delay responses sometimes to mimic AI thinking time.
Wow.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty classic case of, AI hype maybe masking a whole lot of human labor.
And the source material really highlights the impact on those engineers. I mean, they're facing visa problems, trouble finding work, because they were kind of pushed into this.
Right. And there are even these financial allegations swirling around. Something about potentially fudging sales figures with another company, Verse Innovation.
Which Verse denies, yeah.
Which Verse denies. But still, the outcome is Builder.ai is now in formal insolvency. A court administrator has been appointed. It's a pretty stark example, isn't it? That gap between the AI pitch and the, let's say, messy human reality behind it.
Definitely. Okay, so moving from that intense software story, let's shift gears a bit. How is another creative field handling AI? Thinking Hollywood and the Emmys.
All right, so the TV Academy, they've been actively looking into AI. They held an AI summit back in March, apparently. And they're seeing AI tools already being used in, award-worthy productions.
Like AI audio, right? In films like The Brutalist or Emilia Pérez.
Exactly. But what's crucial here, according to the Academy, is their current stance. They're emphasizing that submissions fundamentally have to be original human work.
Okay. So AI is a tool, maybe.
Yeah, they see it as a tool to help production.
Yeah.
But the judging, that still focuses squarely on the human creative authorship. They are keeping an eye on it, though, and said rules might get updated.
Which kind of flags that underlying tension for the industry, doesn't it? There's curiosity, sure, but maybe not full commitment yet because of all those concerns, legal stuff, labor, ethics.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at the bigger picture, it feels like the industry is leaning towards, okay, let's understand this. Let's try and guide how it's adopted. Focus on how humans and AI can work together, maybe, rather than just panic about jobs disappearing.
But defining that human element in an AI world. Okay, sticking with creative industries then. Let's dive into music. You've got the major labels, Sony, Warner, UMG, apparently in negotiations now with generative AI startups. Companies like Suno and Udio.
That's right. And the context here is really important. These talks are happening sort of in parallel with major lawsuits. The RIAA and the labels are suing Suno and Udio, basically saying they infringed copyright by training their AI on music without getting permission.
And Suno's defense is what? Fair use.
Yeah, Suno's basically claiming fair use. They say their training data comes from publicly available audio on the internet, not specific copyrighted songs they knew were protected. It's been murky.
So what do the labels actually want out of these talks? It's not just about the lawsuits then.
Well, no. They're looking for compensation, obviously, but also things like developing tech to track how their music is used by AI. They want some influence over how these AI products get developed, and really importantly, the right for artists to opt out.
Which ties right into that artist pushback we've seen, right? Those open letters signed by Billie Eilish, Jon Batiste, even estates like Bob Marley's.
Absolutely. Huge names expressing real concern about AI and artist rights. It's essentially a big fight over intellectual property, but for the AI age.
And are other industries further along?
It seems so. The source mentioned that. Book publishers and news outlets have already started making these kinds of licensing deals, so there is some precedent being set.
Interesting. Okay, finally, let's zoom out. Big picture question. Will AI replace your job? There's an interesting piece from the Dallas Fed today looking at exactly that.
Yeah, and the article's main point is actually a bit reassuring, perhaps. It argues that fears of massive widespread job loss specifically due to AI in the next 10 years might be well, significantly overstated.
Okay, why is that? What's their reasoning?
They bring in history, pointing out
Yeah.
that, worries about technology killing jobs, that's not new. And historically, labor markets tend to adapt. New kinds of jobs often get created.
Right. And they also talk about AI's current limits.
Exactly. That's a key point. Right now, most AI is what they call narrow. It's great at specific tasks, sure, but it doesn't have that broad, general human intelligence, the creativity, adaptability, complex decision-making needed for a lot of jobs.
So it's more about augmentation than replacement. AI working with people.
That seems to be their angle. It changes the tasks within a job rather than just wiping the job out entirely. They use the example of ATMs. They changed what bank tellers do, but didn't eliminate them completely.
But some jobs are more vulnerable, right?
Oh, definitely. They acknowledge that. Industries with highly repetitive tasks, more at risk. But roles needing that creativity, emotional intelligence, complex judgment, less likely to be automated away, at least not soon.
Which really underscores the need for things like education, retraining, lifelong learning, helping people adapt.
Exactly. Policies to help workers gain skills to collaborate with AI, not just compete against it. Their conclusion is basically one of resilience. Yes, AI will transform work, no doubt. But the market can adapt, especially with proactive policies to ease the bumps.
So quite a journey today. From AI hype versus reality in startups, through creative industries grappling with AI's role, to the big picture of the job market.
Yeah, and it makes you think, doesn't it? What do these shifts mean for your industry, for the skills you have, for how your future work might look?
And looping back to that Builder.ai story, where that line between AI and human got so incredibly blurry, it really leaves you with a thought, right? As these AI tools get woven deeper into software, art, music, everything, how do we even begin to evaluate what's genuinely authentic or creative anymore in this digital age? Something to ponder.